Oh, ah, ouch. Ah, ooh. Ooh. Ugh. Now what happened to my live? I have no idea. There we go. There I am. Let's see. There we go. Oh, shit. Ouch. Ah. Ooh. Ooh. Woo. Lord, that hurt. Ugh. Ooh. Okay, I'll leave that one alone. So I'm not going to wait on people to come in here to do my story time about my fathers. I have two, and we're going to go ahead and get the conversation started. Anyway, I'm having some tuna fish, y'all. I love me some tuna fish. Put this on cracker. So delicious. Now, I said I was going to treat myself to one Coke a day. Only one. Because I thought this was a diet. But it's not, and I'm pissed. So we'll do one a day. One Coke a day. Okay. Let's talk about Father's Day. Father's Day's coming up tomorrow. Today is Saturday. And by the time you guys get this message, it may be 80 years from now. But this is Saturday night, and I just finished my show on TikTok. Wait, let me get some ice. Okay, so we're going to talk about Father's Day and my fathers. I have two fathers. I don't want to do it tomorrow because I know a lot of you guys will be with your families tomorrow, and some of you will be with your daddies and some of you won't. Okay? Well, I grew up in a small town in West Texas. And my father, stepfather who raised me, his name was James. And it's so weird because everybody in this town calls me his last name. Some people don't know that he's not my father. Well, some people do. A lot of people do, but they still call me his last name. They always call me Mr. Nile. It's so weird because I can tell this story on TikTok. I mean, on YouTube, but I can't tell it on TikTok because they kicked me off of TikTok. When I grew up in a little small Texas town with my father, I've always sided with my mother. Always. Mother could never go wrong. Mother could never do wrong in my eyes. Even though me and mother had a stormy friendship coming up. You ain't gonna talk about my mama. You ain't gonna say nothing bad about her. If she don't speak to you, I don't speak to you. So when I got older, I learned in life that my stepfather was not asked to be here. And my stepfather, once I got older, my mom explained to me how brutal my stepdaddy was, his mother was to them, you know, when it came to whoopings. They got beatings, is what, according to my mama. And so my father, stepfather, did the same thing to us. Until one day my mom said, no more. If you beat my kids again, I'm leaving you. And he probably whooped us, but he didn't beat us no more. It stopped. And when I got older, I learned that he didn't ask to be here. He didn't ask me to be his son. I didn't ask to be here. And then I didn't ask him to be my stepdaddy. And because of the owning our friendship or relationship that my mom and stepmother, my stepfather and my mom had, I told you I was always on her side. And when I got out of high school, I practically, see, I can say this on YouTube, I can't say it on TikTok because they'll kick me off of TikTok. I hated my father. My stepfather, I hated him. And that's really a harsh word to say about your father, step or whatever, because I was always on my mama's side. I knew about the cheating and all of that. And my mama wasn't perfect, but she was always putting him out because he didn't want to do right. He did make sure that we ate, though. One thing about my stepfather, we ate. We ate. And I think my stepfather, it's just like all parents, a lot of them, they're young when they start out. They start out young and they're just young, And some of them get into relationships and don't really mean to get into relationships. And when a man meet a woman in her when she's 19 and 20, oh, she's sexy, baby. You can't go wrong with this one right here because this is the right one. But when you get older, you may have realized that this is really who I want to be with, or either you're just a hoe. And you really don't want to be in that relationship. And like when the Williams, we tried to hold on to make the family work, tried to make the family survive. And I think that's what my mama did for years. She tried to put up with my stepfather because she wanted the family to stay together. So when I got older, all the hate that I had in my heart for my stepfather turned into love. And that was only because of the, I guess the God in my heart, or Jesus in my heart, the angel in my heart, or whatever. Because I've always been on my mama's side, and I've always been on her side, and I'm gonna take up for her before I take up for anybody. As I got older, and my dad got older, we became closer. There was a time when I wouldn't even go see my stepfather. There was a time I didn't even want to talk to my stepfather. But when I got older, I saw that his latter years became sickly, heart problems and stuff like that. And when I would visit home, I'd go see him, you know, and we sit and talk, and we had conversations about us coming up as children. And I would listen to him, and he would tell me something that I never heard him say, that, son, I love you. And I always tell my daddy and my mama, even to this day, I love you, but it's so hard. I don't know if because I don't know why it's hard. Because I love my father and I love my mama. It's just hard for me to say it. I don't know why. Because I do love him. And it's me and my dad, as he got older and got sicker, I would visit him as much as I could, because I knew it would be long. And I remember when I was living in Dallas, I think I was in Dallas, and I'd go visit him. He was like, son, I'm tired. And my daddy don't say that. You're going to be around a long time. I said, no, I'm just tired. And I said, well, daddy, if you think, they say a lot of people, when you get a certain, certain older people, they just realize, oh, this is it for me. Like, I'm done. I'm ready to go. So that's how a lot of people feel like, and I'm just ready to move on. And when they get to that point, you just have to just be there with them and support them or whatever. And the last time I visited my father, before he decided to go in hospice because he was in so much pain, he just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I couldn't realize, my life just flashed before my face, before my eyes, and it's like, man, it was just like we was just little kids. It seemed like yesterday. And I was living in Houston, and they told me that he wanted to go into hospice, and he wanted to see all his kids. So I made my way to Houston, and they had already started the process of, how hospice is, how you, and from what I remember, he said he's not going to leave until he see all his kids, and so I was the last one to come and see him. And I think my dad died 3 or 4 days after that. And he wasn't a perfect father, but he was a good father. He did a lot of good things. He did a lot of bad things. Sonny, please block people who are being insensitive to my live. Sonny, please block insensitive people to my live. You know, and my stepfather, I remember when I went to go see him, I don't think I don't know, I said, hey, Dad, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. He had already started slipping away, you know. But I'm glad to tell him that before he left this earth, I was glad to tell him that I did love him. And like I said, he wasn't the perfect father, but he was put in my life for a reason. And I was put in his life for a reason. I didn't like the way he did my mom, but also I have to remember that he didn't have to be here. He wasn't a perfect man. And you know, my mother and him had divorced years ago. He had another wife. And even though all the things that him and my mother went through, when my dad was in hospice, guess who went to the hospital to make sure he was good? My mother. My mother. So rest in peace to my stepfather, James. And rest in peace. Now, I definitely want to talk about my biological father, Ernest. When I grew up with James and my other side of my family, I grew up as a gay man. You know, I grew up when I started, you know, I knew I was gay at a very young age because they always said I was a little girl. And I just knew, you know, I was different and I knew I wasn't attracted to girls. And I knew that I had another father. I found out when I got older I had my real father. But when I got older and it was time for me to meet them, I didn't want to meet him because I was gay and I felt like I would bring shame upon him or the family I didn't know, you know. So when I became a teenager and I found out, but I just knew, I guess when you get a certain age, you just know this ain't your real daddy. So I always want to meet my real father. I just want to meet him, you know, just to see what he was like. And, and so finally, my mom, well, I almost met my stepfather, not my stepfather, I almost met my biological daddy, but not by choice. I've told this story a million times. I've told y'all this story so many times you probably don't remember. But for those who haven't heard the story, I'll tell it again. Um, um, Back when I was could have been 16, maybe 17. Me and this guy was in a relationship, and y'all, I'm telling a story time. If y'all would just listen, I'm trying to tell y'all a story. I'm telling the story. Do y'all not hear me? Sonny, I don't know what you're looking at, but you're way off. Let me finish my story. Okay, um, so I knew that my stepfather. Well, anyway, so this guy, he decided he wanted to out me because he set me up to be outed. Because the word on the streets was him and I was messing around, and he didn't want it to get out, so he decided to out me. And when he outed me, in a little small town, it was very embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. And so my mom was looking for my father, and she couldn't find him. I'm glad she didn't because I wouldn't know what it felt like to go live with a whole nother family that I didn't know, you know. And so years later, my mother was in Austin and she ran into my father. Now it was time for me to meet him. I was excited. I was ready, but nervous at the same time. So we all met up in Denny's. I'll never forget that Denny's on I-35 in Austin. I was nervous as a wreck. I knew I was a little feminine. I knew they was going to clock it. But I was like, you know what? I got to meet my family. So I have 2 brothers and 6 sisters. I'm the baby. I'm the youngest out of all the boys. And I want to say I'm younger than my sisters. I'm not for sure my sister. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know why I don't know this. But anyway, and I still got a sister I've never met. It's in Austin. I met all of my sisters and brothers except one sister I haven't met yet. And I need to meet her because someone told me she has a gay son that she's having problems with. So I met him, but I still felt uncomfortable because I didn't want to be around my dad and I get rejection from him because I was gay. And then my dad did a lot. He did a lot of hard work. He did a lot of construction work, and I wasn't that bitch, honey. Okay, I don't do construction work. And that's at the time that PT was. I hadn't PTA wasn't quite born yet, but I think I was doing shows, but PT wasn't born yet. And that was around the time that I wanted to start doing shows. I was doing shows, but I really wanted to start doing my little shows or whatever. So I kind of moved away from my father, but I was very close to my sisters. One sister, and to be exact, was Emma, who I just love. I love all my sisters. But Emma is who I stayed with. One time when I moved to Austin, Emma and I'm very close to them even now. And I'm more closer to my oldest brother than them now because now my oldest brother. Anyway, long story short, about my dad. He passed away. I didn't go see him because when I went to go see him, I barely missed my daddy. I went to Austin one time and I barely missed him, and I really wanted to see him. Because I always had questions and I wanted to ask him, well, why didn't you come and get me, or why didn't you come and see me, or That my stepfather, did he not approve me coming down there? I don't know. It's always been in the back of my mind why my stepfather never came to see me when I was young. I always want to know why. It could have been my stepdad, you know. Or maybe he didn't know how to get in contact with me. Actually, that's what it was, because my mom didn't know how to get in contact with anybody. I ain't that big child. You come down here, you can find me. And he knew my mom's name, so he could have said, "Where's so and so at?" I'm just, yeah. But anyway, and so when COVID came on, when it was time for me to go see my dad, COVID had got real bad, and I was so mad because I really wanted to go spend some time with him. You know, and just talk to him. Come to find out later on in life that he was cool. Like, my dad was cool. He had no problem with gays. I got a transgender niece in my family now. I got pictures of him and my dad. So I heard he turned out, I heard he was cool and everything. But I did get to see him before he passed away. But life goes fast. And the moral of this whole story is, if you have a father, and some people, listen, some people don't never get, some people ain't gonna never be friendly with their mothers and fathers. Some people just not. And some of you will. But this is what I'm gonna do. Before I go, this is what I wanna stress to everybody that's young or maybe old. You may not ever have a relationship with your parents, and you might. It might be good, it might be bad. It may not ever, I thought me and my mom were gonna never ever be close. But the day she told me she was gonna come watch my show, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. She coming to a gay bar? And she came and supported me. She ain't gonna ever agree with my lifestyle, and that's fine. Like I told her, that's fine. But my brother's a hoe, so. So rest in peace to Ernest Johnson. And rest in peace to Mr. James Nyland, my father's son. I was blessed to have two daddies. Two. Some of you got one and you don't only get along with that one. So happy Father's Day to everybody. Even to the mothers that are filling in for fathers. Happy birthday to you. All right, I'm done with that. So if anybody got anything to say before I go, you're more than welcome to. Sonny, I don't know where you was at, but you was all over the place, child. You talking about nails, and I was talking about something totally different. I just did the show on TikTok, and yeah, I was removing my nails. I took them off. And I'm about to do my hair. Oh, I got to dress up tomorrow. Tomorrow's Father's Day. And then get ready for church. So nobody got anything else to say?